What's up, Go enthusiasts? Welcome to my recap of day 2 of the Chicago Open. If you haven't seen day 1 yet, go watch that. It was the better day. Good. Day 2 was a lot harder for me. The first round, I got paired with my good friend Paige Lemaster, who I'd been chatting with so far during the tournament and the breaks and the dinners and all that. And she had also gone 3-0 on day 1. So we were both 3-0. This was to take the lead in the tournament this game. And she'd been throwing all sorts of smack talk my way before a game. So I was eager to try to prove that I was not so easy to beat as these other players in the tournament. I played black, she is white, and I played this opening, which I'm going to retire soon, but I've been playing it for the last couple years. When I just like attach to this particular situation, it actually is pretty difficult for Wait to deal with because I just have a group in the area that they were supposedly going to build. So if you wanted to build, you don't get to build. That's the idea of this one. Game goes on though. It's not particularly good. That's why I'm probably not going to do it that much anymore. But yeah, I chose to try to make it a bit spicier with this invasion. One thing you should know about Paige is that she is famous for playing ridiculously fast, extremely fast. This tournament is a 25-minute plus 10-second Fisher, like 10-second increment tournament. So you get 10 seconds per move, and Paige had been ending like all of her games at 25 minutes on her clock. So she was spending 10 seconds per move average in a relatively slow time tournament. And so I really didn't want to get in time trouble against her. I'd gotten in no time trouble on day 1 in any of the 3 games, and I wanted to keep that streak up because I know that I'm not that good in time trouble. So yeah, I played this invasion to fight her while I was not in time trouble, and to try to get some advantage here and play a bit fast for the rest of the game. Yeah, I actually played quite a sort of territorial way after that, after she played her own territorial way. This was not really that brilliant, but I was just sort of engaging and baiting her to attack my group, and she did, and I was very happy to be able to push and cut here. Of course, white wants to say that there's an attack on the black stones like this, but how much, how big of an attack is it really? Actually, this situation is quite complicated, and I really like my chances when I play this kind of situation where there's a bunch of cuts in a very local situation, and I have a good judgment of what end positions are good. So this was the best move by black. This was actually the best move by white, which is nice. But the correct idea for black is to sacrifice now those 3 stones. So I chose to do it from the center first, which is the correct direction, maybe not the correct exact position to do it. But she suddenly stepped wrong when she connected here. The reason why she did that is that it's really obvious that I'm going to die. I have to capture this stone now, and she can play like this, and my top 4 stones are dead. So she thought this is a good result for white, but I know better. This is not even close to a good result for white. It's only good for black. I thought it was about 4 points good for black in the game, and actually it was about 8 points good for black, and we checked with AI afterwards. I just knew that I was winning, so I was very surprised when she backed off here. Basically what had happened from this top side is I got the best kind of result that you can get in a high-level game, which is that you're winning, and your opponent thinks that they're winning. When you get that kind of a result, the game becomes really, really easy, because white thinks, oh, all she needs to do is back off, but I know all I need to do is back off. So I'd go take my 2 space and make sure she can't attack anything. And we play this Joseki again. I still haven't looked it up, by the way. I played the old way. And she just reduces me softly here. Of course, if she knew that she was behind, she would do some invasion. That's the more proper thing to do. But she thought, oh, I can just play soft. This telegraph guy, he's no good. And of course, I can just answer that. I did prove that I'm no good with a response to that large knight move. I did this and this attach, which is just funny, because she can connect and get away with Sente here. And I could have, instead of doing that, I could have just opted to cut, where obviously she can't extend in, because I could cut it like this. So she's going to capture, and then I could Atari, and then I would block with the chance to capture the stone. But I just chose to block without the chance to capture the stone in the game when I played this camp, because she at any time can play this connect and Sente, and it's all connected. She had some misread about that, so this situation didn't get played in the game for some reason. Both of us were like not understanding what was going on there, but actually, I knew what was going on. I just didn't think it's big enough to fall back to. My judgment is a little off there. It probably was big enough to come back to, but these other things are like also big. It's not that serious of a misjudgment. But like this one, for example, is small in comparison to that left side situation. Which, I mean, I understand. I don't really know why I decided. I think I wasn't like paying very much attention to that left side result very very closely at this stage. I only started paying attention later when she pushed here, and then I understood what was going on. But I decided that pushing into the center is more important, which is not that stupid. Um, and this result was also very good for me. So what Paige does is she fights very hard, but makes sure that she doesn't collapse and plays very fast as she does that. And so that tends to put opponents under pressure if they can collapse. Like if she's playing someone who has the chance to collapse, they're likely to get in time trouble and collapse. And she won't collapse, and the fight will always be going on where people like can actually be broken in their intention, just not do what they're supposed to do. But I'm, as I said in the day one recap, I'm a stable player. I tend to not collapse unless like unless I'm doing what I intended to do. What I intended to do turns out to be a collapse. Unless I make that kind of misjudgment, then I'm usually going to be pretty safe. So because of that, I also know how to just sort of improve against this sort of stable fighting. I'm getting more valuable areas. My intention, the way that I beat this Hane, this push and Hane stuff, is I said, okay, well, you want to push from there. That means you're getting the top side, and I'm getting the bottom center area. Which one is more valuable is the bottom center. So I don't have to fight against you. I can just say, okay, I'll take it. And this cut caused her to have to fix her own cutting issues. That was obvious that was going to be forcing. And then by doing it like this, I've just forced her to give me the left center on a really big scale. It's obviously much bigger than anything she's gotten on the top side. That's just judgment, right? That's not anything special. So White played the attachment. She realized the center area is very big. This attach is obviously serious. Instead of connecting, I could have blocked the left center and let her capture a stone, but they were similar. Turns out this one was the AI move. I didn't know that. Just lucky. I continued to take the center here. I knew at this point the size of the like B5, B7 area. I knew how serious that was, and I really wanted to get over there. But there kept on like being something in the way. So like here, if I would have captured, which is totally reasonable, this move by White is like a nice shape. I was like, I don't really want to let her get the nice shape here. May as well just bide my time, wait another move, take the good shape myself. And then she plays here, and I'm like, well, she could capture a stone. Yeah, all of these honestly are sacrificable in comparison to the size of her C7 is Senta. It's so big. It's so big. But okay, game goes on. She played this Knight's move, which is a great move to try to come back into the game at this point. I think she realized that she was behind. And yeah, I played this one. I was just floating a stone out there, trying to be as uncommittal as possible to saving my either two stones. And trying to just sort of sit here and say, I'll get something and I'll win the game. And she tried to fight against that, which makes sense since she's behind. But I actually won this fight really nicely. She decided to fall back here. Of course, the more active way for her to try is to do stuff like this and push through here. And then if I would play this one, then I can be in danger where there's this cut. And here, she could Atari. Obviously, I shouldn't Hana. Anyway, in this situation, you can see black is all dead, and it would be very sad. So I wasn't going to play like that, of course. I planned to play like this, and then if she would break through, I knew that I had counter chances to cut her off. Actually, my reading was exactly like this. That White was dead. And it turns out I don't actually have to play this exchange first. I could have played, like this first, according to AI. And I probably would have seen that if we went down this variation. I'm not sure. Maybe I wouldn't have, but I believe in myself. So she didn't actually have a strike here, although it looked relatively dangerous for black. I had everything covered with the somewhat deep reading. And So I went for this sacrifice. Yeah, what Paige is supposed to do here should be to fight against me like this and cause me to have more issues when it comes to saving my group here in the center where, eventually I'm going to have shape problems. Instead, she just was passive, so that let me win the game really, really comfortably here as I get the full Tiger's Mouth and Sente and actually get to take territory in the center where I was getting attacked just now. And then I got to take this endgame as well, so that pretty much end the game on the spot. I did some slightly poor reading over here. I didn't have it all exactly read out the way it was supposed to be, but I did get the general gist that I'm sacrificing the 5 stones in the right center, which is the correct way to play. To sacrifice those 5 stones in the right center to take the like bottom side center was the correct judgment, and I executed well. But if she had done some other lines, I didn't have the right answer, as we found out in review. And this Hane also was a mistake. This is kind of interesting, actually. I thought this Hane definitely White will answer. She thought the same, but White could use this timing to extend here because we had both been reading that this Atari would generally work for Black because Black can Atari and then Black can eat like that, so that doesn't seem sensible. But White could Atari here and then cut here, meaning if Black tries to eat it, then by taking these couple Ataris, White would get enough liberties to turn here. So I totally didn't see that. When I played this Hane here, and that means that if the Hane had happened, she would be able to take the corner like this, and then my Hane is just a passing move, which is funny. So that could have let her bring the game to within 10 points or so, but instead like this, I was winning by more than 20. And yeah, it was just a relatively clean endgame here until the end. So I'm going to play it all out as we played it. I didn't play a perfect endgame, but neither did she. And the worst part of it is yet to come, actually. Here, she played this move. I thought we were fighting this Ko. What happened was we were playing on a really nice board, actually. I've never played on a board this nice. It was a thick board. One of my friends at the in the local area owns this board. Is really, really high quality. It feels really good to play on. But I've never played on a board that's like elevated. It's like here compared to most boards which are like further down, or on the screen they're like right in front of me. So I was looking at the board more diagonally than I ever have before. This may sound very, very stupid, but it actually changed how I was seeing the board in some ways, and I literally just did not see that I could be Atari'd and Atari'd here, so I couldn't connect because there was Atari, and I would die in the endgame. So I had to give up these 2 studs in late endgame. That her answer there, and I was so sad. I was making a bit of a commotion because I was like, "Oh my god, did I lose the game off that?" I'd counted that I was winning comfortably, but this is like a huge loss in Dame. I was like, am I still winning comfortably? Okay. Fortunately, I was. I still won the game by about 16 points or so after losing that in the Ko. Yeah, that was a rough end, though, and that rattled me a bit. Still, overall, a really good quality game by me. I'll put the AI graph up here. You can see a few dips. Those were all related to these sort of big reading errors that I had. But my judgment overall, I had almost no errors in my judgment throughout the whole game. I played a lot of blue moves, which is always good. So I was really happy to steamroll again against a player who had gone 3-0 day 1, really strong competition. And regained my bearings just a little bit. Got ready to play the final remaining undefeated player, Hauran, in Game 5. So round 5, I played against Hauran, one of the 2 AGA 7 Dons to play in the tournament, the only other player undefeated so far. I felt really good about my performance for the first 4 rounds. I basically had no chance to lose any of those games. And, I mean, of course, if I replayed them against the same players, I don't think I have a 100% win rate against them, but the way that it played out, I gave myself extremely safe positions, and I was never in any critical time trouble. And I was ready to prove I was the best player in the tournament. Go 5-0. This game was a doozy. Really, really interesting. And I got to review it with Kim Ji-seok, after the game that night. And that was really, really cool. I mean, just talking to Kim Ji-suk is awesome. He gives great lessons. And yeah, this was a really, really interesting one to review as well. Very educational. And I learned something extremely critical about how I view Go that's really basic that I'll share with you later on. Anyway, the beginning we just played a bunch of Joseki. I skipped past it. Kim Ji-suk skipped past it. It's not important. This stuff is boring. This is where the game starts, because at this point we have no more Joseki to play. We've filled all the corners, right? These are all the memorized patterns that we can play. And now I have to play by myself. And actually, Hauron had a really nice idea to end the Joseki phase. He played this kick and Large Knight. He defended his top side quite thinly, but with a lot of territory. It was my job to show him that that's not efficient somehow. And there's a couple ways to do that. So one way is to sit here and wait. It's the way that I did it. Sit here and wait, play with my own power, and let it be weak later on. So I can lean on it, I can save my groups with it. But somehow it feels like Black got a little bit more value, and he could go on to the valuable area on the right side, and it wasn't bad for Black. So Kim Ji-suk said his first intuition is to attach here, which is the blue move, the AI suggested move. It turns out a lot of Kim Ji-suk's suggestions are the blue move. He's pretty good at finding it. This was my first intuition too. And the reason why I didn't do it is because I was scared of variations like this, where I wasn't really sure that I was going to keep these two stones without them becoming a bad exchange. So for example, in this variation, if I eat the corner now, this might look good, but it's actually significantly less good than you'd think, because these two stones are such horrible exchanges, allowing Black to get so thick there. So, the AI suggested variation is actually to Atari on the outside now. I found this very interesting. If Black connects, then we take the corner, then it's much better for White. And if Black plays like this, then it just connects. This is the AI best variation. White can take this peep, and this is actually the way that White can be satisfied locally. I found it really, really interesting to see AI suggest this one after the game, because this doesn't break Black, but it just gets White in a good position, right? This is basically what I wanted, but very, very cool way to go about it. Kim Ji-suk suggested to play this move at this time, which is, I think, the much simpler and more obvious, more human way to exploit this Black. If Black connects here, it's going to be a mistake, because I can go in and, using this push and Hane, Black is going to be broken in some way. There's there's a bunch of ways this could play out. Here's one. At this point, you can see it's Miai. White can save the corner, and also, White probably wouldn't even save the corner. White can go kill this now, and I think that's a winning capture race for White. I didn't read it very carefully. Anyway, the main point is, if I would have used that thinness right away, I could do something sharper than what I did. What I did was too stable. It's the thing that I keep saying is my style. I'm a little too stable. Here's the evidence, right? This is me being a little too slow, a little too stable, not chasing his weakness enough. But I'm not that patient. So I played this attach, and I thought that I got a good result here, which is actually true, because I got to go to the last big place on the board. So Kim Ji-suk suggested, instead of Black descending there, Black could take this corner himself, because I have no actual threat here. That didn't even occur to me, to be honest, because most of the time, there is a threat here. Usually this Hane is very powerful, but in this case, when Black answers like this, Black's shape is clean. There's no problems with the shape. This is not inefficient for any reason, and of course Black's corner is so nice. So the game continued, and this stuff is all pretty normal. Black did a really nice job of following up the Joseki in the upper right corner. That one is a really tricky one to play from the White side. Very, very difficult. And again, I could strike against his top side. I could go do that invasion, the pinching stuff, and try to use the Black cuts and really attack Black. But I didn't feel comfortable doing that, so I chose to play this move. And this is sort of like a handshake move. It's, okay, I know I'm being too stable here. I'm not really getting enough value with my move, but If you don't answer, then I'm going to start going after your weaknesses next move. I'm gonna like really start biting into your topside territory. I might even play like e3 directly if I can. I'll at least think about it. So that's pretty scary, right? Don't you think you should back off, Mr. Black? And Black is like, okay, yeah, I mean, that's pretty scary, so I'll back off. And we both know when we play this move, each of us know that's not valuable enough. We're being too passive. It's not big enough compared to these other big moves in in this stage of the game. Um, and here I managed to play away first, so I'm the first person to call uh, uh, to go away, basically, to blink, and blinking is correct, right? This area is not that important. Kim Ji-seok showed even without this exchange, yeah, we could have just played away right away. And that exchange, I mean, if Black Tanuki, it's obviously bad for White because White is just not fast enough. But there's these follow-ups, and I mean, the reason why I call it a handshake is that both of us are agreeing let's be too stable here, and I'm trying to argue I got too much. I got to defend my weakness that was really important to me, and I got to expand my territory with it. And he's trying to argue I got too much. I got to thicken my weaknesses that were really important to you, and your weaknesses weren't that important. Like, we're both arguing that the other guy's weaknesses weren't that important. Because we're both too scared of going after it. I find it kind of interesting. Anyway, game continued like this, and this is a good sequence to try to build the bottom side and attack his bottom group. Actually, Wei has a lead at the moment. I've been playing well. At this point, I started to feel like I lost my footing. And it started with this cut, which Kim Ji-seok pointed out probably should be the Hane. I actually didn't even think about the Hane, to be honest. It was not on my radar at all. I thought you cut or you'd like resign. Like, cut is the only move in my dictionary in this kind of position where I'm like attacking and there's other things going on. I just cut, I keep the fight going, and I expand the fight. But actually, Hane here makes a lot of sense. And I couldn't really imagine a move like Hane because what it does is it lets Black play some thick move with his group. And normally I view this kind of thick move as just Black's success. But it's really not that simple. It's not that obvious that this is Black's success when, I mean, White cares about what they're getting as well. Like, White's direction here towards the bottom side is important to White. And I really disrespected how much that matters, and like how little that the Black group matters. Usually if I cut and I make the fight more intense, then it's going to be good that I force Black to play a weaker fight with his group here, but he was just totally fine anyway. So this was a little bit naively played by me, and then this was very naively played. Remember I said I'm too stable? This is way too stable. This is super over the line. Kim Ji-seok is like, there's no shot that you should ever play there. At least play here, because the only thing you give up is this back sente, which doesn't matter anyway, which is totally true. I knew that was the reason why I should play the Tiger's Mouth. But I don't know, I just played the Connect anyway. I was trying to play fast, trying not to get in time trouble, and played something that's just, frankly, obviously illogical, if I can say it like that. Like, most of my moves so far, none of them in the 4 previous games have been obviously illogical in the same way that this one is. Anyway, the best move Kim Ji-seok suggested was this one, and yeah, I was thinking between these two as well. I just was too scared to do this kind of move, because this cut, it feels like it gives Black some control. I didn't want to give Black, but it's really naive of me. I mean, this is not real control, and obviously White has more space and more direction to run and power to run, and this one, I'm going to have to spend more moves defensively later, so the super unnatural connect there, way too thick in the wrong direction, not actually like controlling something. So, okay, after that, I had to take care of my 2 weak groups. I got in a bit of trouble here, really, because he played this Tiger's Mouth, and then both my group on the right and my group in the center, not alive. And not that far from being surrounded either, both of them. So I played to run out, like this, and extend. And here, Kim Ji-seok was not happy with the flow of the game from the White perspective here. Neither was I. I didn't like what I was doing, but I didn't know how to do it better. Kim Ji-seok knew how to do it better. He was insistent that I play this move, this mouth-shaped move, much earlier, and I agree. I think that I think that I understand what he's talking about. This move, it really, really controls the ensuing fight. So, like, I'm not going to be weak with my group basically ever. He's going to be weak with his group basically all the time. And it's not like him blocking here. Basically, when I turned, I was thinking his block here makes a good position for him. It's not like it's that much better, like to block here than compared to when I push, and especially if you could get this vital point. This vital point causes me so many cutting issues, so many life and death issues. I really should have gone for that one much faster, because if I play like I had been playing before, what I had done in the first 4 games all the time was correct play, teaching game style play. I was trying to play like I was the better player and just instructing my opponents by showing them everything that they did wrong. To do that, you have to be quite calm, right? You have to just do things correct. So I had done that really well so far. I'd basically done all things correct throughout the games. A couple mistakes here and there, but for the most part, almost everything I was doing was correct and calm and waiting for my opponent to do something wrong and then showing them why and then winning. And that's the exact same mindset that would have led me to play here. The problem is I had lost that mindset at some point after this cut. Like around here, I felt very, very uncomfortable with the style of game that I was playing because I recognized that this fight should be turning out well for black. I think basically immediately after I played the connect on the bottom side, I was like, what am I doing? This is crazy. This fight does not look good for white at all. And so that caused me, instead of to play that calm, educational style that I'd been really insisting on making myself play, I sort of reverted back to old telegraph to the player I have been for the last several years, which is sort of half cognizant of the rules, but mostly just of the by the rules I mean of the theory of Go, the correct things to do. But mostly I would just play by positional judgment. Just I judge this to be good, I judge that to be good, I just played towards positional judgment. And that's what I was doing here. I mean, these moves, they weren't backed up by any particular theory. They were just like, well, I think that the position is the best when I play here. I don't know. and so on and so forth for each of these moves. And that's a really loose way to play the game. And that allowed me to get in trouble. So when I played here, I knew after this I'm going to have to answer somehow. I even answered the wrong way. And Kim Ji-seok said, this is the simple one. Of course, I should just play here. This one is less stable, but not actually. Like, it doesn't actually get broken in any way. It just looks a little less stable to me. But even if if black connects, no big deal. I'm still going to be fine. I can tanuki. And so I just get extra cuts when I play that attach compared to when I play my backing off this jump here. This is just clearly worse. And regardless of the cuts, it's just more territory as well. There's no reason for me not to press. The previous games, a lot of the time I've been pressing my opponent to be like slightly unstable here, slightly unstable there. In this game, at least at this moment, I had just totally forgotten about that mentality and was just playing moves to advance the position, not really knowing what I was doing. So I really, really lost the control of my game from here. And it showed really, really starkly. He played this nice attacking idea to throw in a stone and then to hane. And I felt so uncomfortable. I played this jump. It's not really the right way to try to save. I could have handled this much, much, much more calmly here. But I knew that the game was just floating further and further away from my grasp. So I chose to play very, very harshly. And this is obscene, to be honest. This is not teaching game material anymore. And I knew that as I was playing it. I was like, man, this doesn't look educational. This looks like flailing while I was playing the moose. But I just wanted to make some fight out of it. I felt so uncomfortable that I just wanted to do something. I'm not very good at the moment at catching up in losing games. So what I did was I planned this all out. I read everything that he did to here, and I read that I was going to do this and here, and I read up through here, and I thought that this fight, this capture race, should be okay for white. And I was totally wrong. I was wrong on so many different counts. Honestly, it was frankly an abysmal idea to go for here. Just way too over aggressive. And it was really easy continuing from here to punish from the black perspective. I kept on finding ways for black to punish me as we played this variation out. I was like, okay, come on. If he just lives directly here, the only way for me to save this now is to run. And then as we continue running, he's alive. I'm not alive. I'm going to get harassed. My top group is going to get harassed. My center group is going to get harassed. I can only re-harass as one group. That's 1 versus 3. I'm doomed. The game is literally over here. I don't know why he didn't go for that. Instead, he went for the capture race. He thought, oh, okay, he can end the game. And so we go like this. And to be honest, he should have been able to end the game, but he captured here. So this one, I realized as well in the game. If he plays here, I have to throw in. Then he can play here. Then this way, he forces me to make a big eye for black, which is really important. It's really, really important that there's a big eye there, because it means that as we continue this capture race, I'll just fix this. Let white get one eye. Even if white gets this one small eye, white still has the burden to fill all the liberties. Actually, maybe I should do it better. let me do this properly. There. So white has to fill this liberty here, and white has to fill this liberty as well. So white, of course, has to fill these, and here, and black can fill this, and white has to fill this liberty to kill. The reason why, if white chooses, not to, if white just has this, white is dead. It is not Seki ever. Because even though white can try to kill this black, white can't make progress from here without filling all the inside liberties. So black can wait for this moment and then say, okay, I have a big eye, you have a small eye, we have one shared inside liberty. Right? And then black captures, white has to kill it, but black now has 2 liberties in his eye. So when he Atari is here, he has 2 liberties, white can't capture and white is dead. That's frankly an easy read at our level for having a lot of time on our clock, which he still did at this point. We still had a lot of time. So I was very lucky that Hauran made the same mistake that I did and played here. And I was very lucky again that Hauran opted not to capture my 1 stone. I don't really understand why, to be honest. But if black would have captured this 1 stone, then black would have had basically an additional liberty over here, as I would have to fill and then capture and then connect to be able to do this. So this makes it so that I have to spend 2 moves filling that liberty. As opposed to the game, I could spend only 1 to fill that liberty. So I just got an extra liberty out of nowhere for no reason. And even beyond that, if black would have exchanged this, instead of exchanging from the other side, then white has still 2 liberties here. Has to fill this. And in the game, white had 2 liberties, but black had Gote. So it was... those exchanges lost 2 liberties for black. It was really, really horrible. So, he Tanukid. And this is where the game finally picks up and gets really interesting. I mean, honestly, I should have died right there. Hauran did a really nice job outplaying me in the corner and in that fighting on the bottom side in general. I should have been significantly more calm. If I was calm, if I continued to treat it as a teaching game, play the proper moves, pass the turn back to him, I could have survived that without his huge mistakes. Fortunately for me, he made a bunch of huge mistakes in the capture race, and I got lucky basically to continue to play the game. The question is how? How do I continue to play the game? If I tried to capture him, what is the result? That was the question, right? So he played away. He thought, if I try to capture him, for some reason, no big deal. He doesn't have to play. So let's take a look. If I try to fill his liberty, he's going to fill my liberty. I can fill his liberty. He can fill my liberty. You can see now I have 2 outside liberties. And we have this weird shape in the corner. So we have to analyze this weird shape in the corner. The normal Tsuji is to play the throw-in here. And throw in here like this. Atari and Atari here. And now this becomes a ko, which is pretty hard to analyze. First of all, if white wins the ko, white gets another ko. If white wins that ko, white captures the black group. So this is already what we call a stage ko. A stage ko is a ko that leads into another ko. So stage ko actually is easier to evaluate than normal ko, as it becomes 1/4 of the value of the whole swing of the ko compared to 1/3 in normal ko. So 1/4 in general, I find it easier to divide by, but then 1/3. Frankly, point is that part is not hard to evaluate. The hard part to evaluate is what happens when black wins the ko. That's very tricky, because if black just connects, I can Atari. So black needs to fill my outside liberty. So what would really happen in this ko is that black would fill an outside liberty right away. And then we fight this ko. If black wins, black still can't connect. So if black wins, black has to play another move at t13. And then, if black wins after that, then black could connect, and white would be able to play to capture. So here, at this point, if black wins the ko, finishes like this, and then wins the ko again, black wouldn't really want to play here, because when I Atari, this Atari is self-Atari, and black would die. And now we start the big ko again. This is going to be a stage ko proper, but black had to spend 2 approach moves creating the stage ko. So, this is a 2 approach move, 2 stage ko. Something like that. I was very confused. I think Howron was also very confused. This ko is so hard. So hard. The correct way to play this kind of ko is to stop thinking about all these crazy things of how to evaluate step ko, stage ko, 2 steps, 2 stage, mind blown. You just read it out. That's what Kim Ji-seok was doing when he was talking about how I should play this ko in the review. He just read it out. He's like, okay, and you play like this, and you play like this. And so he said, right now, white should try to capture this black. And directly fill the liberties. Go ahead, play in, play here. He wanted to hold on to make those inside moves as co-threats, I think, later when white needed the co-threats. But in this position, I think he just wanted to go all in like this and say, all right, now white needs 1, 2, 3 moves to capture black. That means black will get 3 moves elsewhere. You just kill the black. You give him the 3 moves elsewhere. Keep going with the game. I mean, that's understandable. That's a good way to try. And I think even if black would play very harshly with those 3 moves in a row, something like kill the whole top side or something like that, then at that moment, Kim Ji-seok could probably trade back and say, all right, well, this is still an approach ko. So like we're only going to really try if black commits and plays the approach moves and then makes the ko serious. And if you play the ko like that, I think that's the best result. I think that Kim Ji-seok has the right plan objectively in terms of how to maximize the value of this ko. To really squeeze all the value out, you want to force black to make some concessions about whether they're dead or not, or wasting moves or not in the corner. But from my perspective, this was really, really hard. And the one major thing that I learned from Kim Ji-seok about this review, I tend to approach ko worse than Kim Ji-seok does. He read that out, and he put a lot of like reading effort and like solving effort into figuring out whether that was going to be good. From my perspective, when I solve this kind of ko, I don't read out how can I get the best value out of my ko. I just read out how can I get a winning position from this ko fight. And as long as it's winning in the end, I'm satisfied. That's actually worse than what Kim Ji-seok does, because you don't want to just be winning, you want to be winning the most, the easiest, the best, right? You don't want to make mistakes along your path. Basically, the whole point of how I've been playing the rest of the tournament, I was trying to be educational and play correctly and expand my lead throughout the whole game. So I was never in any worry in any of my other games, because I wasn't playing those games just to get a slightly winning position. I was trying to get the most winning position out of every position that I could play. And I did that. I did that very successfully. But I realized when I was talking to Kim Ji-seok, I have not been doing that when I fight ko. When I fight ko, I don't try to get the most winning position. I just try to get a winning position. And it's a really stark difference in mindset to realize, oh, I need to go and do the work to figure out, okay, exactly what's going to go on if I make this kind of co-trading. And I mean, It's not that hard. I know it may have gone over your head a bit, but for my reading power, I was doing much deeper reading and just Go variations than I was in this Ko. And that's totally ridiculous because this Ko, I should respect it more and read it more. So, I mean, I've probably ranted on this too long. But the point is, in the game, I played away. And that was also a winning idea. But it was a less winning idea. Here's my winning idea. My winning idea is, all right, Black, if you ever come back to fill the Liberty, that's fine. We can play this Liberty race out. Actually, we do this shortly. So I'll play out a few moves. He plays the Liberty, and I start taking the Liberties too. And, okay, we don't actually play it out. So, yeah, he plays it. I play some Liberties. All right, we played it up to here. I'll go back and cover the rest of the go. This game got really complicated and interesting. But the point is, my idea here was that I don't need to play a Ko at all. I'm already safe. And I can trigger that Ko later, but it puts me in more risk when I do. Only by triggering that Ko myself do I have a chance to die in the Ko. If Black plays all the approach moves in the Ko and wins it, then I could die. But if I never play it, you can see here, when I don't fill this point at T16, Black can't approach me. Actually, Black is too short of liberties to fill T16 himself. I have the shared inside liberty of a 1-eye versus 1-eye capture race, so I'm alive. Since I have 3 outside liberties and Black only has 1, if we trade outside liberties, I can play T16 and activate this Ko later. It's still the same crazy Ko. Black has filled a liberty first, and so I can't get quite the best kind of result before it, but I can still get a 1-step 2-stage Ko. That can still be my weapon. I can still do that, but I don't have to. My plan was, I'm going to win the game in territory throughout the rest of the board, and just let that be alive. So, because actually, like if you look at the rest of the board here, Black has this territory, some territory there, he has some territory here, but I also have some territories. Particularly my bottom side is really big. I have some potential there. I even have a little bit of potential here. This game definitely favors Black aside from the Ko for now. But if Black has to spend a full move at some point while we're still playing very valuable moves, just finishing the Ko off, stopping me from playing that, and I get a full move in endgame, then the game should actually be quite close. So that's what the kind of game that I was trying to play. I was trying to say, okay, go ahead, add another move, finish off the Ko yourself. I'm never going to commit to it. So I'm never going to let you capture me back if you do add that move. I'm just going to stay alive. And in the meantime, I'm going to try to win this game on territory. This was I think, an interesting plan, but it wasn't as winning as Kim Ji-seok's plan. So I have something to learn. I mean, I basically I quit too early. I went for this plan. I was very self-satisfied with this plan, just thinking that with this I might be able to win, but it wasn't the most winning, so it isn't good enough to play like this for Kim Ji-seok. It shouldn't be good enough to play like this for me either. I was satisfied too early. All right, so the game continues. I'll go back and talk about these moves that I skipped as we were filling the liberties very slowly over there. You can see now why Black was quite hesitant to add like Liberty Stones there. He was like hesitant to let me play the valuable move somewhere else while he just passes to fill the Liberty and stop me from playing the Ko. Yeah, so in the game, he started by playing this pressing stuff in the center. And this is actually pretty interesting to play that kind of a pressing move, because if I capture his corner, I don't have to answer. So that's why part of why Kim Ji-seok wants to play right away is that he doesn't have to answer the center group anymore. He doesn't need to gain strength with it. I just tried to gain strength with it anyway because I thought this area was valuable. And that was kind of true. So Black also kind of believed that this area is valuable, played a little bit of pressing, played a Hane at the upper right. At this stage in the game, we were both getting low on time, and particularly Howron. I did a good job actually with my time management. This was a very hard fight, very complicated fight. He entered like under 1 minute Fisher 10-second increment, about 4 or 5 minutes before I did. So I got more time at this stage of the game to really calculate and understand what I was doing. And I used that to negligible effect, to be honest. I didn't really play better than him in this area. He played some co-threat, and I decided to play here. And Kim Ji-seok, he pointed out why this move is bad. So the reason why I played that one is that I wanted to save my group on the left side here, and I wanted to save it with the most territory. But I should have tried to save it just with the best position, the best shape, which is to play like this. You don't want to get pressed down to the side and then have to suffer some small shape and not really get enough space to feel comfortable. So this I knew that this one was the better shape way to try. But I had a good reason, I thought, to not play it, which is I thought that black is going to take this right away. And then I thought, I don't really want to spend another move here after I've played that move. So I'm going to be playing away somehow. I don't know how. Let's put some random stone down. And then I thought black might start this ko. And if black wins this ko, then I'm going to be dead locally. So I was like, maybe instead of being dead locally, I should play the other big move that helps me be not dead locally, that helps me save myself with another eye potentially in the corner. That was, I thought, a fine plan, but Kimchi Sock says, well, why, why are you worrying about something that's not 1 or 2 or 3, but 4 moves out that your group can be in trouble? He said, you'll probably find a way to fix it by then. And he's right. I mean, honestly, he is right. My move was, he immediately said, in English, by the way, when I played this move on the board, he said, so brave. And I felt somewhat silly, because the reason why I played this wasn't because I was brave at all, but because I was cowardly, because I thought I was going to lose my group. So he believes that this move is brave, and the reason why is that he believes that this stuff, where black can press me down, this is the stuff that you can actually get hurt by. So to him, B3 is like a territory taking move that comes at the cost of your power. To me, it was a territory move that comes with a boost to my power. That's why I played it. But of course it comes at the cost to my power. I was just being naive about that. Of course, when you get good shape, you get good power. That's just how it works. So I took the bad shape variation and didn't really gain there. Fortunately here, I played alertly from here. So I still had enough time to feel somewhat confident, but I'm just about to enter Byoyomi. Or not Byoyomi, but the 10-second increment is like all I have from here. And I actually played, I think, really well in this stage of the game. That Atari is critical. The reason why is that if I would play somewhere else, say push here or something, black always has this really annoying Aji on the top side to be forcing me to eat these 4 stones. And even if it doesn't work exactly like this, although it's very close, this is going to end up being a sacrifice here. So you can see I can just about barely capture this. There's going to be similar variations which are going to work later into the game. There's going to be Ataris from the outside, that sort of thing. So playing here, it fixes an enormous amount of issues for white. So that move is really valuable. I'm sorry for the sun being right behind me, by the way. I'll try to block it with my head. That move was quite valuable, and by taking that one, I sort of asked back, well, what are you going to play of value now? And it's not so obvious where black can get value in the center or in the corners anywhere. So I sort of gave him a position where there was no obvious good move. And I then managed to play this cut, which takes a lot of potential on the left side, makes my group much safer there. He panicked. So this move was played with only like 2 seconds left on the clock. It's just a time Suji. And I answered very fast, actually too fast to answer correctly. I was trying to put him under time pressure, but the capture is just better than the connect here. But he only had like 10 seconds left on his clock to make his decision next, and he chose to finish off the ko, kind of. Actually, I can still play the ko, but he added another liberty there. I had a liberty back, and then he played away. So he didn't actually finish off the ko. He decided to play this move. This is sacrificing those 2 stones, looking to make a ko later. On the left side, I chose to Atari and extend up. I asked Kim Ji-seok whether it could ever be right, rather than extending up here, to actually like properly capture those 2 stones. Something like this. And he said, no, that's never right. He said, this must be correct. Which I understand. I agree this must be correct. But I sort of expected him to prevaricate, to be like, sometimes that would be correct if this ko is important and you really needed to live and the center was not so important. I thought like there would be some kind of condition where this extend must not be as good as capturing those 2 stones anymore. But Kim Ji-seok did not bother to include any such condition. And I think that's for a good reason. I think that my style, that too standard, too stable style that I keep yapping on about, uh, I like to capture this kind of inside stone much too quickly, but it can never be a good shape. So the problem is, I don't, um, I don't disrespect the shape where I just directly capture those stones by taking their liberties enough. Actually, if you directly capture those stones, take their liberties off the board, while black is doing valuable things on the outside, you are losing value. You're putting stones in your own territory, black is putting stones in valuable areas, right? So that's why this one is better. You want to put your stone in the valuable area and sort of naturally let those two stones die. You don't want to take their liberties off yourself. And so it was instructive to me. I feel like I understood something about like what Kim Ji-seok does when he presses in his games. He chooses not to try to kill stones like this to feel like he has a good position, but to press his opponent continuously, even through the end of the game. He says there's no reason to try to kill like this because it wouldn't be pressing. It makes a lot of sense, like in hindsight, that there is no excuse to go back, but I feel like I didn't really understand it until I asked him. Okay, so in the game, he played another time Suji, and then he took a liberty properly again, and then I played away. So I figured, okay, I still have, potentially, that ko. He took one of the approach moves. I still have that ko. But, of course, I was never intending on playing it. So now I plan to win the ko. Sorry, I plan to win the game without the ko. He has wasted his time over there. I played the valuable move on the left side. I get to play another valuable move in the center. I'm trying to get enough value out of the rest of the board to now be winning without ever fighting the ko. I played the push here, and so asking him to block, that gives him another cutting point, which I then used from the outside. I used by dominating the other cutting point here, because this one is much more likely to lead to me getting an actual powerful shape. Actually, this was like the correct AI sequence, and then this was the correct AI move as well, which is very happy to see after the game. It's not that obvious of a move. This was correct as well, and this was correct as well. And so then I'm fighting this ko, but the flow, you can see, has been really, really, really good for me. I played a bunch of moves, right? You know, what can you do? That was... The point was I was trying to save my group by busting through black rather than by settling down. And I was really successful because those two black stones here are now dead. They cannot run. There's no, if you read them trying to run out, there's no escape. And so since those two stones are dead, my group is saved in really, really nice flow, and my group on the left is also looking quite safe. The only way that Howrun has a way to win this game is by winning this ko on the left side, getting that territory back, and then reattacking me in the upper left. So what I tried to do was just play big, safe moves, taking territory, taking endgame with my group in the upper left here. I just tried to defend it and calm down the game and win smoothly. So I played that ko to try to win with my left side group. Kim Ji-seok said, you really don't have to play that ko because it should be kind of free to you. But I was treating it as if it was free to me. I made some bad exchanges, I think, is what he was more concerned about. He didn't really like this peep exchange. And also, he didn't really like this exchange either, which was a little complicated. I kind of lost control of myself, and he managed to capture these 3 stones, Howrun. So from here, I have a split on the top side like this. I also have a weak group on the left. And Kim Ji-seok said, what you're doing here is too complicated. There's no need. You should just spend some move finishing off like the life and death of your upper left corner group and then winning the game. There's no reason to be so complicated to push from this side. The problem was, I didn't realize that this is complicated because I didn't realize that my left side group was in trouble at all. Oh. This is the first like real collapse, unintentional collapse of the tournament for me. And yeah, that was really bad. I don't usually play like that. My excuse is that I had 10 seconds on my clock per move, right? So I didn't really read or think fully enough as I would with more time. But you should still be able to see a group like that with 10 seconds on your clock. It's not that hard. Kim Ji-seok, of course, saw it instantly 10 moves ago. Yeah, this was really, really painful because this game was honestly a free win if I had just defended. If I just answered that group, we would go into an end game where I was leading by about 10 points with almost no hope of recovery for black, at least reasonable recovery. But instead, we had this position. So black killed off the whole left side suddenly. I mean, it used to be, remember, that this is supposed to be my like super strong area. And now, what is that? Right? I mean, how come black has all that and all this? So sad. The good news for me, I have something here, but that was what I was getting even without the rest of the exchanges. So this is not enough for white. This is not enough. The problem was that with just very, very little time on my clock, I didn't switch my mindset from the controlling game, the leading the game mindset, to more active coming from behind, like fighting mindset. At least I didn't switch my brain like that fast enough. So what I did was I just played here. This kills off the 3 stones, which black could have saved in Sente. But that's not a big deal. And black really, really smartly makes this wedge exchange before playing anything else. What that does is it gives him some local co-threats. He was aware that I should have played this co. So what I should have done instead of doing this, instead of this E1 move, is just immediately start the co. Say, okay, you got me. I lost something over there. I'm going to get it back by playing this co. And he would get 3 moves in a row wherever he wants, as I just win this 2-stage co. But I would kill him because there's no 3 moves that I like really have to answer here. Even if he plays this one, then I can play. Oh wait. If he plays that one, then I have to answer. But I can answer a couple times, and he can't play that one as his co-threat. That's the point, because I'm going to capture in time. So yeah, that was a bit of a no-brainer in hindsight. Without 10 seconds on my clock, that I should have made some fight here and like kept the game going. But Howron did a really good job of making it clean. He actually fooled me in real life a couple times here. The facial expressions and like general body language that he had when I did this, he was looking really uncomfortable. Like he had messed up, and he was like, he slapped the stone on the board and was like, no. But it was his trick the whole time. But I got fooled. I played like this. The reason why he did that was because he thought I had forgotten about my upper left group, and indeed I had, and so I didn't look for anything because I thought that he had just messed up, and I got an extra 3 stones in addition to my easy victory. But that wasn't how it worked. And then here when he played this one, he was like, oh no, how did I do that? But it was creating co-threats, right? So he wanted me to not think too hard about the co-threats that it made. And I didn't, so I just played a couple moves over here. I was trying to create co-threats myself, which he realized and played here. And from here, he won the game pretty easily on territory. Yeah, I had nothing really to do in the end game. He was just leading by about Comey, a little more than Comey, and the game ended. He won by 9, I think, in the end. I don't think I played the best end game, but it doesn't matter. This game was crazy. Yeah, I really learned something. From now on, I will try to maximize my value rather than just getting some winning position. Get the best winning position. That's what I want from now on. Really, really educational game. And I've learned to not get tricked by my opponent's IRL random body language. Their moans and groans will not fool me anymore. Yeah, as an online player, primarily online player, I hadn't been used to that kind of psychological warfare before. But anyway, great game. So game 5 ended in my loss. I was 4-1. This is the AI graph you can see. Yeah, that was a crazy game. I definitely could have won as we entered the end game, but that's how it goes. I didn't deserve to win the game anyway after I played to get into trouble in the first place. But yeah, what a game. I was a little disappointed, but I thought maybe I still have a chance to win the tournament because Howron was paired with a guy named Jinka, really, really good player. the other 7-dan in the tournament, who had lost one game before. That's why I hadn't been playing him. Jinka lost to Jay Donnelly. And yeah, so I got to play Jay, and Howron was playing Jinka, and it was like, I think it was mathematically decided already that I couldn't win the tournament, but I didn't know that. I thought this game might be for tournament victory. Anyway, if I can go 5-1 and Jinka could beat Howron, um, I wanted to win. I wanted to win the tournament. So that is exactly what I tried to do. I played against Jay as white. I think, white in 3 games and black in 3 games this tournament. That doesn't always happen, but it's nice when it does, just to have some variety. And yeah, again, I kind of skipped past the opening, but here I actually feel I got a somewhat pleasant position. I actually played this before in a friendly game. Jay is a good friend of mine, and we played on Friday as I arrived in Chicago on Friday for my flight. And we played that Friday evening. I won that game. And I won that game partially off of this Joseki, so he had studied it a bit. He decided this was the correct way to play. The AI showed him. I don't really think that it's that good, personally. I don't like to play like that when I'm black. It's pretty hard to handle afterwards. And then he played this kick. Okay, basically Jay is a better reader than I am. He's pretty good at calculation, just plain calculation when he knows what he's doing. But I have a better judgment than Jay. And so these games, they typically end up being, when we play against each other, like I'm better in the little details, and he starts some crazy fight somehow, or maybe I start it, but eventually we get into some crazy fight, and then I have to try to outread him, which I don't mind. I don't mind trying to play into his strength. I want to be better than everybody I play at everything. That's my goal, of course. So if Jay is strong at reading, then I want to test my calculation against him and really try to learn as best I can. So started some fight here, and started another fight here. Yeah, honestly, I was maybe a little too aggressive at this stage. I knew that I had a very good result on the bottom side. By the way, Jay was surprised by my sort of double knights move here on the bottom. This is the blue move. This is the AI suggested move. To me, it's very natural because, well, the goal is to make a good position eating this one stone and like with my weaknesses here. And then this is just the way to press that I'm as big as possible. So even though he gets these endgames, which are his right, then I still have a big shape there. I'm still thick, and white is still better. So I went through this variation thinking if I can break the right side and save a group there, usually I can handle saving a group against Jay, and I can try to gain by showing him that he doesn't really have enough territory left to match my bottom and my top and my corner. So I played like this, but honestly it was a little bit hard. This fight was not that comfortable for white. Jay decided to Tenuki to start it. So he wanted to make it so that it was like a triple attack somehow. That would be weak on the right and the top and the upper left and everything. I just went back to defend over here. I thought that was the proper way to do things. And he decided to take this move on the left. Yeah, after the game in review, he was like, I don't know why I even did that. Because this cap puts black under a lot of pressure. And he could have been putting me under pressure if he would have just jumped. So yeah, the game here, he decided to push and cut. He could have tried to save that one stone on the top side. It could have worked. The game was becoming the fight that I'm accustomed to getting against Jay. And yeah, so the game continues like this. I'm just taking care of my right side group, and he decided to play this diagonal, which is really not a good decision. Since I can just eat that one stone on the top side, I clearly have a good position on the top, clearly have a good position on the bottom, and I'm not going to get punished on the right. White is just obviously better in this game. He played a little too thickly there. So I just took care of my right side group, I kept jumping it out, I saved here, and then he did this one. Yeah, Jay has some wild ideas sometimes, and here I was like, well, I really don't get it. I wasn't sure whether to answer or to strike against his right side, which is very weak right now. But eventually I decided his idea when he plays like this is probably to somehow make a surround against me with that stone, but that doesn't work. And so I just answered and let him try a surround, and then knew that I could play this cut. And this is really severe against black. So the fighting is going very well for me here. He tried to cut and descend, but I can extend like this. And all he can do is save his group with this ko. So he has a ko to capture my 3 stones and then just barely connect his group back. My group, which was supposed to be surrounded and getting attacked, is not in danger in this variation. So this is like a ridiculously good position for me. I figured that the game would be easy, just like all my previous games in the first 4 rounds. I haven't made any mistakes. I'm steamrolling, and I have that completely clean winning position. But Jay is quite good at playing from behind. I think partially because he isn't aware of how hard it's supposed to be. He's so used to coming back to in games like this. This is exactly the amount of control that Jinka had against Jay when Jay beat Jinka and prevented him from winning the tournament. Jinko was in at least as dominant a position as I was here, if not more, when he threw. So Jay is very good at catching people's throws, and yeah, I tried to make this more stable. I played like this, thinking if black wins the ko, then I'll be able to eat his 2 stones, and I'll save my group on the right side really easily. I still have all my territories. I'm winning comfortably. I really shouldn't have done this, though, because of what I talked about in the last game, where I'm not fighting for the best result from the ko. So if the game goes like this, it didn't. White is only leading by, like, I don't know, Komi or something like that. And I could be leading by so much more than Komi if I would fight this ko seriously. I should have been fighting the ko seriously even from here. Even if black can chase back very hard against my right side group, he is also super weak on the bottom side. And so it's really, really difficult for black to maintain something like this, where I can even just capture race the bottom side. I can also escape. It's not, I mean, this game is not possible for black to play, to be honest. This is just not reasonable. So I didn't fight like that because I thought that was less clear. And at this point, I hadn't understood from Kim Ji-seok yet that I'm supposed to play ko's not to be clearly winning, but to be the most winning, to get the best result that I can. So I played these exchanges thinking I'm extracting some value here and then making it so that even if I lose the ko, I'll still be winning, which is true, but it's not a very ambitious way to play. And so the game went like this. I used that push as my ko threat. The AI kept on saying, you know, black should play away and capture the stones, and white should be really, really trying to save those stones all the time. So like at this moment, white should connect. Because what white can do after they connect is attack the whole bottom side. That makes a lot of sense, actually. I totally get it. But somehow in the game, I knew that this one was cleaner. It was clearer that this one is a winning position. And I made this Atari. And here, I was really tempted. I was really, really close to playing that connect on the bottom side. But I just connected on the right side instead. Yeah, actually, I had an idea here. I was counting each player's co-threats, and I had a pretty interesting idea, I think, which was to turn like this. And the idea of this turn is that black has almost no co-threats remaining. So after this, black is going to answer like this. White can recapture the ko. Black has only one co-threat, which is this move. So I thought that this co-threat was not real, because if I capture these 2 stones somehow, then black could cut, but white could clamp like this. I thought I was going to be able to get out, but it was my misread. So turns out, yeah, this cut is really powerful by black, and even though I can play here, eventually you can see here, white cannot continue to approach after this. White cannot take either one of these liberties, so black can play here and win the capture race. So I read that out, and that's why I decided to answer here, which then invalidates my thing. So actually, Kimchi Scott gave a lecture later on silly mistakes, very painful moves that he had seen from people, and he included my push because it didn't work. Yeah. Very painful mistake indeed. Actually, though, I could have made sense by playing here and continuing, but I would have had to continue with this kind of outside idea, like connect, allow black to cut like this, and then to jump. Then I can reattack his bottom side. My right side can still be saved with an Atari there. So, I mean, this this is playable, but I didn't think of it, to be honest. I didn't even occur to me. I was just embarrassed that I had misread that I could escape, and I just connected. Um, and so that made me have to make a non-co-threat because I have no co-threats remaining either. So I had to just do some random stuff for my co-threat, and I knew that this position was still okay for white, still okay, but it's much less winning than the other variations that I could have played during the co. That was very frustrating for me. I had gone for these like less winning variations in the co, and I hadn't even really gotten a winning variation cleanly. But I calmed down and tried to say, okay, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I can just collect myself and start playing for a serious advantage again from here. And so I played a bunch of blue moves. I was expanding my bottom side here, trying to restrict his center, trying to show that I was not restricted in my reduction of his left side. But I kind of de-emphasized the center a little too much, especially when I'm playing over here. I should have been chasing, just somehow making his group in the center have to pay for itself, and then becoming thick, and then taking my topside territory. I had enough territory as long as nothing terrible happens. But yeah, Jay decided to start fighting, fighting with me, and this position, this became complicated again. Of course, you have to fight when you're playing against Jay. I should have connected for sure. The reason why I didn't connect is that I thought that if black comes back here, saves that I'm gonna be in trouble with my 5 stones on the left here. But it just really is not true. I'm just not in much trouble at all. I can press his stones. He has to be the one to answer. And I can continue to run to the center. And actually, I'm really pressing a lot on his center group. I'm not going to be in damage danger here. This is not that hard to save. And I know about that. I just really didn't play it. Didn't play it very ambitiously at all here. I understood this variation. Black was going to have to connect. Then I thought, if I play like this, I read everything out. I'm going to be able to answer on the left side, and then here I can answer and I can connect back on the bottom side. Of course, I lose so much territory there, but at least I'm safe, and I'm safe on the left side. So I just knew that this was thick. This is, again, me being way too stable. And actually, I make a big mistake as well when I play here. If I had done this one, then I would be able to save this cutting stone, which really matters when it comes to attacking the center and even the corner. I thought that wouldn't work because Jay could do some cutting shenanigans like this, but it's really obvious that there's 2 eyes in the middle, and there's also clearly 2 eyes on the side here. I mean, however I play. So, yeah, this was a very poor decision to jump here. I thought I was being thick, but in fact, I lost the chance to save that cutting stone. You can see that it would be shortage of liberty if I tried to save it now. Fortunately for me, Jay was paying no attention to my own shortage of liberty in the center, so he fixed that for me and then was forced to jump. And I played an endgame. I recognized that he was going to try to attack me on the left side. I didn't recognize he was going to do it like this, because this is not smart, to be honest, to give me the 3 stones so that I could capture them and ask for an eye. There's no way that this attack is going to work. That's what I thought. So I played naturally. I made this ko, and you might be able to guess, instead of trying to expand my value in this ko as hard as I could, I just tried to make the ko very cleanly, obviously winning. So I played this move. This is way too safe. I should have peeped from the other side that just gains me more value. This one was like, even if I lose the ko, I'll still have a good position. It's unnecessary to play like that because I know that my goal from this ko is to trade to win it. So at this point, I Atari'd from this side, which is a totally reasonable move, but it's contradicted by my previous tiger's mouth, which is now too close to my thickness once I've captured the ko over here. Okay, so Jay continued by cutting like this, and then I tried to play a fun move like this one. So I was thinking I'm aiming at making a double tiger's mouth and connecting, and he can play this Atari to fix it, and then save like this. But then I thought I still have some cutting resources to use. I played here, and then, yeah, just Atari'd. To be honest, at this point, I was getting low on time and I was getting tired. And I really just wasn't paying much attention to reading my sequences out properly in the same way that I had been the whole tournament so far. By playing this move and letting him play here, it just is very obvious that black has gained from that exchange. And he played some more and he managed to save over here. I have this ko resource, but it's so difficult to use because I have no big ko threats. I didn't even read that. I didn't even think about that. When I played this, I just trusted without actually thinking at all that I would continue to be playing decently. It's super arrogant of me and unaware and basically just tired of me. So at this point I realized what had happened, and I realized what I had to do now was create a ko threat. So I played this one, which is blue, and I threw in to make this ko, and he had to trade back for the ko so I could save like this. He got to capture there, and I ate the stones on the top side. And we head into an endgame, but you can see from my very clumsy play in the middle game here, Jay just got 3-4 Panukis there for free, for no reason. So although I was winning the whole game, as we go into the endgame here, black is now leading by just a little bit. And he played this Atari, so I thought I have to fight. And I chose to try to fight in the center. I tried to show, hey, these Ataris are going to be quite painful. I can break your center area, and I can harass your left side by jumping back like this. But Jay, he actually didn't see this. I knew he didn't see this, that's why I did it. I feel like I got fooled by that again. I fell for the over-the-board body language again. Although Jay did not know that when he captured here, he had gained against me, he had, and honestly, I knew. So it's not really an excuse. I was trying to exploit all the ways that I thought I could beat him, but I knew that what I was doing here in the center was not gaining as much as just capturing over there. So it was just stupid by me, to be honest. Anyway, the game goes on, and now black is leading pretty significantly by endgame standards, at least. Fortunately, I played this S5, and Jay, I think, got a little passive when he played this Hane and Connect. And I got to play this very valuable endgame spot as well. The game continued with Jay playing here, which was absolutely crazy. It just kept me at 4 points there locally, but I got Sente. So I didn't really have much more than 4 points to begin with here. So that ended up being a 2-point, maybe 3-point Gote move, which is way too small at this stage of the game. I played this Hane and Connect, and Jay decided that it was Sente. It wasn't really Sente, but it was close to being Sente. And then here, I have a chance now to win the endgame, but totally failed it. I played here, thinking that the few points that I get from that is definitely bigger than 2, and I can continue to press, and I thought it was big enough. I just disrespected the heck out of this Atari, where if he plays this one now, which he should, I read here he's going to play here, and that's why I took the other one. I was not sure which one is bigger. But if he plays there, then I can capture this, and I just have so many more points on the side than the couple points that exist in the center. I have no idea what judgment was going on in my brain. But that's normal because I had 10 seconds at this point. I think for a while now we've been in 10 seconds, both of us, just increment. So when I played this, he played this Hane. I knew that was coming, and I knew it was good for him, but I just let it happen. I don't know. I don't know why. Um, and then we had this situation where when I played this one, he tried to get this peep in at that timing, which doesn't make any sense. So I just connected and managed to push and push through here. So I gained a little bit there again, I think. But this one was also bad. I don't know why I chose to preserve this peep. It's totally unnecessary to preserve that peep, because of course if I use it from the outside, I can reduce more and even get a potential point in this area. But yeah, I wasn't looking for that potential point at all. And by doing this instead, I've made it so that my opponent's Atari there is likely Sente, so I just can't reduce them. I basically lose a point when I play like that for no reason. And then I played here as well, which doesn't make sense either, because this Atari is critical. It's so important. There's no chance he's going to play the Ko. That's very risky, right? He's just going to connect here. And then when I get that exchange, I just gain with respect to the top side. But I didn't get that one, and I even just spent my move over here. And so he got to play that descent, and that was basically the decisive move. From here, I don't have a chance to win the game anymore. In the endgame, we played our big endgames. I think we still made some mistakes. I was fighting as hard as I could. I was trying to make the complicated positions as best I could to scam an endgame as best. But yeah, actually, I had miscounted as well. We had a lot of captured sons in our bowls from the Kos. I had thought that I was going to lead in the end, but our counting showed that black wins just barely by, I think, 3.5 points. So here's the graph against Jay. You can see there, the spike is where I started playing these crazy moves in the upper left, not seeing his Ataris, not seeing the simple reading that I was supposed to do. But really, I should have won this game off the first fight in that Ko if I understood how to play Ko a little bit better. And it's my fault for not continuing to press throughout the whole game after getting my initial lead. I didn't win one fight and then decide I'm going to keep winning the fights, keep showing you the pressure and like high level standard that I'd been holding myself to the whole tournament. I sort of relaxed and let myself play the poor way that I have played before, and that's how Jay was able to exploit me and eventually bring the game back into his favor. So that was a really fun tournament. Amusingly, my AGA rating did not go up to 6 Dan. So I'm still technically AGA 5 Dan, AGA 5.97 or something. Whatever. I don't think that in-person ranks matter that much. I feel like people who play a lot in person ascribe a lot of importance to it, because these people have a high sample size, and for them their rank is probably quite accurate. I don't have a very high sample size. I think that most people don't have a high sample size in real life rank, and so it really isn't that accurate in my opinion. So whatever. I'm looking forward to my next in-person tournament significantly more. Not because, the Chicago Open was bad. The Chicago Open was awesome. But my next in-person tournament is the professional qualification tournament. And I'm trying to win. I'm studying hard. I'm going to try to present the best game quality I can. I'm not going to let off the gas. And hopefully, I'll play some good games, become a pro, and share with you my journey. I have a few videos coming out until then. Hope that you enjoy, subscribe, and like the videos if you enjoyed. See you soon.